You just got your asses whipped by a bunch of goddamn nerds. Nerds!
Welcome back to the Nerds Podcast. Welcome to October. Welcome Halloween. Today we're going to talk about turning down the lights but not knocking out to sleep. And the reason behind that, we want to talk about something that's nostalgic to us during this season, and that is A Nightmare on Elm Street. Now, the 1984 version, not the remake, guys, because we're not talking about new stuff. We're talking about stuff that makes sense to us growing up. P, I was 7 years old when this came out. I think you were 11 years old. Am I saying that right?
I was 10.
You were 10 years old when this came out. Check that out. So, with that said, this is probably one of those movies that stood with me for a very, very long time. And I've probably lost countless hours of sleep not trying to go to bed. P, I know this is the same for you as well. Am I saying this right? Like, did you lose a ton of sleep not trying to go to bed?
Oh, I'll tell you a quick story. I don't know if I told you the story before, but
oh, breaking news! Come at me.
The movie came out in '84, in November of '84, I believe. I was about to, I was 10. I was about to turn 11. So my mother, myself, my sister go to the movies to see this with my mother's friend and her son. So her son says, "Hey, let's go to the front." I said, "All right, yeah, let's go. No problem." I have no idea what I'm in for at this point. So the movie starts at the beginning, of course. I know we'll get into it, but this is part of the story. And Freddy starts, starts with Tina. Again, I didn't know what I'm getting into right now. I think he cut off his fingers. And she was fighting with him. She took off his face, and I'm like, okay, what the hell is going on here? Anyway, fast forward, they get, the part where she ends up, catching it is when she's fighting with him in the sleep after she's with her boyfriend in the room. He slices her on the stomach. That was it for me. So I did the only bitch move and got up from the front and went and sat with my mother.
There was an available seat?
There was. So the thing is, my mother loved this stuff, so she was into the movie. I guess she didn't realize the bitch move that her son pulled in front of a kid that was his own age. But then I sit there and couldn't wait for this movie to be over. It couldn't end fast enough. So we get back home, of course. My mother tells me, "We're locked out. You got to climb in the window." It was
and the house is pitch black?
You know it. Of course. That's what makes the story.
Puerto Rican house. We cannot have lights on.
I looked at my mother like, you cannot be serious right now. Like, I guess you weren't paying attention to the bitch move I just pulled in the movie theater. You think I'm going to climb into this dark house by myself because you forgot the keys. Not happening. My sister ended up doing it. But that's just to show you, after all this time, and it's a funny story to tell now, but back then, there was no way in the world anyone could have made me go into that house after this movie. That's the effect it had on me, but we'll get into it. But that's the effect. That's my kind of like my link to this movie over all these years. I'll never forget seeing it. I'll never forget, of course, the story I just told. I'll never forget the effect that movie had on me. So, but yeah, 10 years old, and I'm in the movies watching Freddy Krueger.
Wow. The only story I have with this when it first came out, same thing. Everybody went to the theaters to see this, and I covered my eyes, and my father said, "Hell out of there!" He smacked my hands. Like, pay attention, boy. I didn't raise you to be a bitch. Listen. This one and the Blair Witch Project probably screwed me the most in this world. I'll never go into the woods ever again watching this stuff. But listen, amazing that, so many years down the road, And this movie has that much of an impact 40 plus years later down the road. It's just crazy. This is Wes Craven. This is Wes Craven. This is kind of his launching pad. He had The Hills Have Eyes, which I think is like a 1978 movie. Don't quote me on that. And he had The House on the Left. And New Line Cinema that put this together so that people kind of figure this out. New Line Cinema was about to go bankrupt. And they took a shot on this movie. They spent like a little over $1 million to make this movie, and this movie made over $57 million later on. Crazy to think that. Save New Line Cinema. And guys, I must connect this for you as we go down this road, but if we don't have New Line Cinema, we don't get Weapons, the movie. So it's all connected in the sense of the nature of what they kind of do. So kudos to Freddie. New Line Cinema, the house that Freddie built, is what they actually call it. But let's go here, right? To think that Johnny Depp, this is where it all started for him, Pete. This is where it all started. I had to rewatch it, right? And I'm seeing this all over again. But what did you think of seeing young Johnny Depp?
I remember when we decided to do this, you said, did you rewatch it? And I was like, I didn't, but I ended up rewatching it because this is, like I said, the effect this movie had on me. I didn't feel I needed to rewatch this. I've seen this enough times. I haven't seen it in a while, but I've seen it enough times. This movie to me it's iconic because we've had Jason and we've had Michael Myers, but they weren't doing what he was doing. He was doing he was popping out of I think Tina ran past the tree to get back into the house and he just pops out the tree. He cut his own stomach open, he cut his fingers off. He was doing some ill shit, and that added to me watching it in the movie theater, okay, I gotta get up and go sit next to my mother. But Freddy to me was if you look back on the three now, to me those are the three big ones. You can add Leatherface as well, but Freddy was just different. He was different, and his backstory was amazing. It was very creative, and again, I just felt he was on another level than the other guys.
No, Freddie's crazy. Shout out to also Lynn Shay, who was actually the teacher there, which is her brother owns or created New Line Cinema. She's a scream queen now because she's in all the Insidious movies now too. Robert Shay is the owner of New Line Cinema when he created it. Lynn Shay was the teacher. She became a scream queen throughout the Insidious movies as well. But the way the movie started, making the glove, you're not really understanding it. You get that first dream with Tina. And I'm going to go straight up to past that portion of it. Because, yes, that portion, that kind of fight scene, I guess you could say, with her, Tina and Freddie was kind of crazy. And, again, I got tons of notes here, but I just want to make this here. But I cannot stop laughing at the part where they get to the school, and you know where I'm going to go with this because I see the smile on your face a mile away. And Rod, Tina's boyfriend in a sense, says, I woke up this morning with a boner with your name on it. And then you hit me and I remember the line afterwards. Please say it.
Oh, she said, my name is four letters. I don't know how it could have fit on there. And then, of course, he got offended, but yeah, great comeback.
He bounced real quick. There's no coming back from that. But the funny thing is this 80s horror film, and you look at the new horror film and all the technology that they have. Man, the work that they had to put in to make this film pop out the way it did, it still amazes me till this day. But let's get into this, right? So Freddy, for the most part, as you stated before, he really is nothing that we've seen before. The only person that has a mouth probably better than him is Chucky. Am I saying that right?
Yeah, but I don't know. For me, it didn't seem like, it seemed in the later movies he became more witty with his banter than in this one. He didn't really say a whole bunch of, we got in the third one, Welcome to Prime Time, and he throws the chick into the TV. When she was trying to keep herself up with cigarettes. I feel he became funnier going down the line in the other movies. This one, he didn't seem like he had too much dialogue, but
Yeah, when he took out his tongue, like, la, 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 la.
Or the phone. In the phone.
I call it the Manolo. But I want to say about the scene that you talked about, which is that first scene when he kills Tina, and she's up in the ceiling. Like since I watch horror, I'm a huge horror fan. That is the first time I kind of see like someone not able to control either in their sleep, in their dream, and the way she was up in the sky, and I'm like, and there's blood everywhere. I did laugh when she was spinning and she smacked Rod and bounced him against the wall.
He got robbed.
And he's there, Tina, like do something, homeboy. But he couldn't do nothing, and that's the part that's scariest of all of this stuff.
He was scared. He was scared because he's looking at this, and then you heard when he's telling Nancy later, somebody was under the covers with her. So you know, I'm glad that we watched it, because now that you're talking about it and that you said he's just looking up at her, he doesn't know what to do because he doesn't know what's going on. Like I thought she was under the covers with somebody, and now she's breakdancing on the freaking ceiling. There's blood everywhere. So it's oh man, this is a classic movie, man.
Listen, when Rod sees her again, he says, "Stop looking at me like that. I'm not a fruitcake." Or something. like the stuff that I'm laughing at now. I was shook daddy the whole time as a kid watching this with the hell out of damn smacking I had to watch. I didn't want to get smacked again. So no, listen, the whole thing is funny. Let's talk about the classroom when she kind of is nodding off, and the body bag. Like, I can't remember. Again, these are things that I'm seeing for the first time. I've seen this now repetitive in other movies, but this falling asleep in school. I've done it. You fallen asleep in school before?
Not. I mean, maybe in college, yes. High school, no.
Okay. Okay. But to think I didn't probably want to go to high school because I didn't want to nod off and see a body bag being dragged throughout the school is kind of crazy to me. Like, listen, all this stuff is, as a kid watching this stuff, I can't fathom parents today putting their kids through a movie like that. Could you?
I mean, yeah. There are people who embrace the horror like you do, and they think and they introduce their kids to it. It's something that's, I guess, part of the family, and I wouldn't be surprised if there were kids who were watching this stuff. Like, look, we were kids as well. So, look, my mother loved this stuff. So I looked at it as she probably took me along, because not that I wanted to see the movie, but that I don't got a babysitter, so he's coming because I want to see this movie. So
I should have worn my fedora today. Of all the days not to wear my fedora, I should have worn it today.
Missed opportunity.
Missed opportunities. It happens. But talk about failure as a boyfriend. He had one job when she said, "Yo, watch me when I go to sleep." Yo, he knocked out as well, and she's having to battle him. The only way she could wake herself up was with burning herself. That is crazy to think that whatever, and that's when you realize, right? In this movie, you finally realize what happens in my dream is happening in reality. That is probably the scariest part to you. You're like, I do not want to fall asleep, because, I mean, you tell yourself you can control your dreams, but I don't think you really, really can in that sense of that nature. I've had good dreams where I want to go back to sleep and go back to that dream. The nightmares stay with me forever, and that's just who I am. But, you know, what did you think that moment, that reality where whatever's happening while you're sleeping is now your new reality?
So I'm watching this as a kid, and again, at this time in the movie, I'm sitting by my mother, because after you saw those four slashes go across her stomach, it was over. It was over. I was a shadow to my mother for like maybe a week and a half after that. So, like you said, she falls asleep in class. She looks outside the classroom, and her friend's in a body bag there. And she's getting dragged. So she goes to follow her. And, of course, she ends up getting into the boiler room where she burns her arm to wake up. But then she bumps into the hall monitor. And they have the same... I didn't pick up on that when I'm watching the movie. Has the same sweater. So she bumps into her, she gets up, and she's like, "Where's your pass?" And she says, "Screw your pass." And she keeps running, and then you hear Freddy's voice, "No running in the hallway." So the monitor has the sweater on, then she picks up her hand and she has the glove on. Brilliant. Freaking brilliant. And I'm looking at this movie when I'm a kid, and I'm like, I can't believe what I'm watching right now. This is the scariest thing I've ever seen in my life. And I look back on it now, and it's just, that hallway scene to me is brilliant. The whole monitor, Freddy's everywhere in your dreams, everywhere.
Work of art. Like,
yes.
this is a work of art. What they say, a masterclass in horror films. So yeah, no, it gets crazy. But the craziest part for me is when she brought back Freddy's hat from the nightmare.
The sleep study.
Yes. She goes, where did you hide that? The parents don't believe the kids. Like, that was crazy.
Well, her mother was a weirdo. Her mother was a weirdo. So
mother of the year, in my opinion, with the vodka. Mother of the year. And then her hair turned gray. You know what? I don't remember that.
I remember that.
I didn't remember that her hair turned gray. And then throughout the rest of the movie, I'm wondering, is her hair the same color when she's dreaming? And it was. It was the same color. She had the same gray, whether it was a dream, whether it was reality. Her hair turned gray. This is already stressing me out. I could imagine the gray hair that she's getting because of Dan Freddy. But, she learns about this when you finally watch this for the first time. You don't realize that the parents burnt this guy because of a technicality that he got off. To think, we as Marvel fans, we glorify Punisher. We talked about it during the Daredevil, and vigilantism is good. And you could talk about Daredevil where he doesn't kill, and Batman as well doesn't kill. Think about this. These parents took on their own vigilantism and burnt this guy, and more than likely alive, hence the burnt face and things of that nature. That's just crazy to think. Now that you look at, we dive into all this stuff, to think that the parents did what they did. So Freddy's just on a revenge tour at this point, right?
Well, yeah, it's he's getting back at them through their kids, which is Freddy. He was doing his own dirt. He probably should have just called it even, being that he got off and then they got him back. So just let's leave it alone. But he decided to take it a step further. Again, I think that's a brilliant part to his backstory, is that he got off on a technicality, and they took matters into their own hands. But that's what's driving him now to go after these kids.
So Rod gets hung by his own sheets in the jail cell. Then, of course, you got Johnny Depp. Before we get into anybody else, which of the 3 kills that you saw really left that impact on you?
Oh, it's Tina, 100%. 100% was Tina. Again, my story is when I bitched out and got up and went to go sit with my mother when Tina bought it. The Johnny Depp one, obviously, Rob, there's no blood involved in that. There's nothing. That was like the tamest of them all. Johnny Depp, you don't really see anything happen to him other than Freddy's hand coming out the bed and pulling him in, and then afterwards you see the geyser of blood coming out of his bed, but you don't see him actually kill him. I remember when the cops showed up, they said, "Yo, where's the coroner?" And he goes, "Yeah, he's in the bathroom throwing up." As soon as he saw it, he went to the bathroom to throw up. So I'm sure it was a lot worse than what they showed us, but Johnny Depp, the only thing was him getting dragged into his own bed. That's the only thing that they show you, really. They don't show him. Tina, for me, was 1,000 times worse than... She got it worse than anybody in the movie.
Yeah, she felt the claws come through
yes.
the wool.
Yeah.
I 100% agree with you. Tina was definitely the worst. I did have the subtitles on while watching this, and the Johnny Depp Glenn in the movie... when he brought it, he said, "No, they don't need a body bag. They need a mop." That is crazy. Listen, as we wrap this up, because again, this is just us reliving our childhood through this horror movie during the Halloween month, of course. The ending was a problem for me, and kind of doing some research. Wes Craven and and the company of New Line had a difference on what they wanted to do in that nature. Were you okay with the ending?
Which part?
So you have of course, the infamous Freddy's coming for you.
Well, hold on.
Say something.
No. So are you asking about the ending of how she defeats Freddy, or the ending when it rolls to credits?
Ending. Mom gets pulled through the door. They're in the Freddy car.
Yeah.
The top part is the sweater. Is the same pattern as his sweater. I was not okay with the ending. And again, they left it open for interpretation, which I do love when directors do that, because it leads for a conversation afterwards. But I gotta ask you, were you okay with the way it ended?
I don't really see it. I don't see it as bad, or it wasn't the greatest ever. It was just okay. Listen, we're watching. It's a weird movie anyway. So the mother getting dragged through the door, and not even the door, through the window of the door. To me, I just thought that was super weird when I'm watching it for the first time. I'll never forget that, because I was like, okay, how did he pull her through the door? But then the car, to me, was just like, okay, he's in control again. That's how I saw it.
Listen, a couple of things that I found funny was when the mom was taking up all the coffee and stuff, and she had a brand new brewed coffee at the bottom of underneath the bed. Like, you didn't smell it, lady? Like, all that vodka?
She had the bottle of vodka in the cut in between the towels in the closet in the hallway.
Coffee and the no-dose pills. The other part that made me laugh is when Johnny Depp's dad took the phone and just left it off the hook. That's how we blocked people back in the day. That's how people got blocked through the day. But listen, Pete, I love your story, by the way. Probably will make me smile for the rest of the week, so thank you for that. I'll never forget that story. I hope the fans, they love this story. They love this natural talk about a favorite, candid, beautiful work of art when it comes to horror movie, slasher movie in a sense. If you do like our content, please like, please subscribe, please share, and please tell us your Freddy stories. I'm dying to read these comments down below for this particular video. I will engage with you guys. I would definitely love to hear the stories. Quick synopsis. Tell us your favorite Nightmare on Elm Street story, so that we can actually share in the laugh and share in the horror that we actually enjoy. Pete, let's go home.
Don't fall asleep, guys.
The worst episode ever.